A pop legend from the 90s looks unrecognizable after beating his drug addiction and joining Panto. Wet 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 heartthrob Marty Pello has landed a brand new Panto role. After shooting to fame more than 30 years ago, the 57-year-old looks healthier than ever as he prepares for his brand new Panto role. He's starring as the Ratman in Dick Whittington at the Birmingham Hippodrome. The star previously battled a heroin addiction but is now clean. On finally beating the drug, he stated, "It was textbook. I couldn't function without it. But there's no romantic side to heroin, it's no good." Marty enjoyed great success with Wet 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 throughout the 1980s and 1990s. Hits included Sweet Little Mystery, Angel Eyes, and Good Night Girl. Their greatest hit to date was Love Is All Around, which featured on the movie Four Weddings and a Funeral. It was a huge international success and spent 15 weeks at the top of the British charts. Marty left Wet 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 in May 1999, effectively disbanding the group. They reformed in March 2004. However, in 2018, Marty quit the group as was replaced by former Liberty X star Kevin Sim. In 2012, Marty was cast in the arena tour of Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the Worlds, Alive on stage. The New Generation. Marty also appeared as Che Guevara in Evita on tour around the UK in 2013. He subsequently reprised the role in a limited-run West End production of the musical in 2014. Marty played the narrator in Willie Russell's Blood Brothers at Hastings White Rock Theatre in March 2015. Good Morning America's Sam Champion has flaunted his swimwear with his husband after fans have claimed the weatherman is a show-off. Champion, 61, a longtime anchor with GMA, often shows off his toned physique on social media, and this week was no different as he treated fans to a Speedo snap. As the U.S. Sun previously reported, Champion has recently been absent from GMA and Eyewitness News this morning, as he's taken some time off to vacation in Ipanema, Rio de Janeiro, with his husband Rubem Robierb. The weatherman has posted a few photos of their trip on Instagram thus far, including a saucy Speedo image of the couple from January 13th. Many of Champion's peers and fans were quick to comment on their adoration of the beach picture. "Okay," said fellow journalist Janice Fernandez with fire emojis. "Love this," noted well-known singer, activist, and drag queen Shangela. Despite Champion's considerable support for his leave of absence in Brazil, some fans are seemingly unhappy with the weather anchors posting online. Some fans even questioned the swimwear decision. "Really?" asked one user, while another said, "No. Speedos are just out." Champion quickly clapped back and told the commenter they shouldn't wear one then. "Then don't wear one," he replied. Show FF, he has even been dubbed a blatant show-off by one critical viewer on Friday. "Ion like this one bit. I'm in a thermal, raincoat, and rain boots," another fan raged under Champion's Instagram post. Ion is often used as a slang term in messaging that means, "I don't." Some people are also urged Champion to return to the morning show amid his absence. Heather O'Rourke, Champion's ABC 7 co-anchor, voiced that she was missing him in a recent post. Champion is in South America to reportedly celebrate his 10th wedding anniversary with Robierb. For more on Champion, check out the U.S. Sun's coverage about how the weather anchor was recently left red in the face. While conversing with Gio Benitez on air, the U.S. Sun also has the story on Champion's unrecognizable throwback picture from his early days as a news anchor. Sam began on GMA in 2006 before leaving to work for the Weather Channel, although he'd ultimately returned to ABC News in 2019, per ABC 7. A heartless couple starved, fed children soap and physically abused them in a twisted campaign of torture. Cheryl Pickles, 35, and Andrew Hadwin, 39, forced the hungry kids to scavenge for food in supermarket bins. They also locked the children in cupboards and made them take boiling hot showers and baths. When the abuse was finally uncovered, the evil couple hatched a sick plot to hide their tracks. Pickles and Hadwin wrote fake letters from the children saying, "We are sorry, we told lies." The pair have now been convicted of a string of offenses following a trial at Teesside Crown Court. Hadwin was found guilty of 3 counts of rape, 7 counts of neglect, and 1 count of perverting the course of justice, but cleared of sexual activity with a child. The rape relates to the non-recent abuse of another child, which happened when she was little. Pickles was convicted of 5 counts of child cruelty and 1 of perverting the course of justice. She was found not guilty of sexual activity with a child. The court was told the couple starved the children so badly they endured 4-mile walks to scavenge from bins. One terrified child was held over a motorway bridge during a horrific campaign of torture. Hadwin and Pickles also forced the children to watch while standing in stress positions as they ate takeaways in front of them. They dunked their heads underwater and made the children take scalding hot baths and showers. As a result of the vile abuse, the kids suffered painful injuries, with 1 child left with life-limiting injuries. The sickening crimes finally came to an end in 2018 when one of the brave children told an adult what was happening. A probe was launched by Durham police, with Hadwin and Pickles trying to worm their way out with the letters. But a handwriting expert debunked the fake notes and found they had actually been written in a notebook found at the couple's home. The pair were remanded in custody to be sentenced on April 28. Detective Constable Kat Pudney, of Durham Constabulary's Safeguarding Unit, said, "This was an extremely complex and distressing investigation for all involved, the likes of which I have never encountered during my time as a police officer." Hadwin and Pickles subjected several vulnerable children to multiple forms of abuse, robbing them of their childhood, and undoubtedly leaving them with psychological wounds which they may never truly recover from. I want to highlight how incredibly brave these children have been throughout this lengthy investigation. Their strength to stand up to their abusers must be commended. Hadwin and Pickles have lied to police and other professionals, and attempted to blame others throughout this investigation, in an attempt to divert the attention away from themselves. I am delighted that the jury have returned these verdicts, ultimately protecting further children from falling victim to their manipulative and abhorrent behavior. I hope this result will allow the children to close this chapter of their lives and start their healing journey. Lloyd's Pharmacy is withdrawing its services from hundreds of Sainsbury's stores. The pharmacies will close across 237 branches, the supermarket said. Sainsbury's struck a deal to sell its pharmacy business to Lloyd's Pharmacy in 2015, for £125 million. At the time it meant around 2,500 Sainsbury's pharmacy staff transferred to Lloyd's. But Lloyd's Pharmacy has now confirmed all its Sainsbury's pharmacies, 237 in total, will stop operating. Lloyd's pharmacies that aren't based in Sainsbury's stores will stay open. A Sainsbury's spokesperson said, "Lloyd's Pharmacy is withdrawing pharmacy services from our stores over the coming months. We will work with them to ensure customers are clear on how they can access an alternative pharmacy provision to meet their needs." Lloyd's Pharmacy operates all pharmacies in Sainsbury's supermarkets. The UK pharmacy sector has come under growing pressure amidst calls for increased state funding support. Following today's announcement, Kevin Birch, Chief Executive Officer of Lloyd's Pharmacy, said the decision to pull out of Sainsbury's stores was not an easy one. "We would like to thank them for their continued support and assure them that we are committed to providing a smooth transition over the coming months." Love Island's Zara Lackenby-Brown is set to make waves in the villa tonight as the contestants take part in an explosive game of beer pong. The 25-year-old property developer and part-time model looks set to make her mark as she and Ron Hall continue to crack on despite him being with Lana Jenkins. Zara doesn't stop there as she makes a move on Tom Clare, snogging the footy pro during a steamy game of beer pong. Meanwhile, Ron's head is turned in 3 separate directions as he struggles to decide on which island girl is meant for him. As things begin to heat up in the South African villa, Tanyel Revan admits she's really annoyed with Kai Fagan after he cracked on with anime Roby fans slam the boys for referring to the girls as the birds. Viewers are furious that many of the male islanders refer to the females in the villa in the same derogatory way. One angry fan blasted in response, "Anyone else getting a bit irritated at how the guys keep calling the ladies birds?" Another fumed, "I hate when men call women birds, rank behavior." A third chimed in, "I hate the term bird so much." Less than an hour to go, just 40 minutes to go until Love Island 2023 returns for its 4th episode. Tonight, the Islanders look set to take part in a steamy game beer pong and Ron gets his head turned. We can't wait. Today, 2010, could we see another bombshell ex-Islander return? Joseph Garrett has dropped a huge hint he is heading back on the show. Taking to social media, Joseph teased his followers, "Some very exciting news coming tomorrow, and yes, It may involve a certain island. Today, 1950. What time is Love Island on tonight? Love Island returns at its usual time of 9 p.m. tonight on ITV2. If you missed last night's action, you can always catch up on ITVX. What twists and turns will hit the Islanders tonight? Today, 1920 fans notice this Love Island favorite is strangely missing. Love Island fans are questioning where the show's iconic commentator Ian Sterling has disappeared to this series. While his voice has been featured in episodes, many fans think he is less prominent in this season. One wrote, "Why are we never hearing Ian nowadays? Did Laura take him with her? Or is he left speechless by Maya like the rest of us?" Another posted, "I just realized something, where's Ian's commentary?" A third said, "Ian has been very quiet these past few days," while a fourth commented, "Ian has been very quiet these past few days." Someone else tweeted, "Wait, where's Ian and his commentary?" All the latest odds for Love Island 2023 as we approach the end of week 1. Fan favorites are starting to emerge in the villa, but which couple will come out on top? Well, according to Betway, it's Ron and Lana that lead the way to be crowned this year's winners. Good Morning America host Robin Roberts has shared a message about feeling low in a new video. This comes amid the suspension of her co-hosts, Amy Robach and TJ Holmes. On Wednesday morning, Robin posted her usual weekday morning video to Instagram. "Here we are with the morning message and prayer," she began. "Remember what my mama would always say? Everybody's always got something." Robin continued, "Well, are you letting your something, your circumstances, a medical report, a financial situation, cause you to live worried and stressed out? Why don't you start considering your miracles? Remember the time God showed up and suddenly turned it around? Every victory He has given you wasn't just for that time. It was so you could go back and use it as fuel to build your faith." The GMA host ended, "If you are low on fuel, go back and get some fuel. It is in your past victories." Robin then ended the video with the prayer for the day and wished everyone a blessed day. Not so good. Amy and TJ were caught on PDA-filled dates back in November. The co-hosts were married to other people at the time and later filed for divorce. The morning show suspended them both after news broke of the affair. There has been no word on if or when the hosts will return to GMA3. Amy and TJ have not been on the show since the scandal was made public. A source exclusively told the US Sun that their future on the show remains in limbo, as ABC's investigation into the potentially problematic inter-office relationship continues. Amy and TJ have been off the air a full 6 weeks now, and while they thought there would be a resolution by now, ABC has still not made a determination as to their future at GMA3 or the network in general, the source said last week. Unhappy hosts. The US Sun also learned back in November that Robin and George Stephanopoulos were furious to learn about their co-host's affair scandal. A source close to GMA production exclusively told the US Sun that George and Robin took great pride in their team's reputation for demonstrating strong family values and happy marriages, until it all came crashing down. George and Robin do not like this. "This is very messy," the source explained, adding that the pair once prided themselves on not having a scandal like Today suffered in 2017. They prided themselves on not having a sex scandal, like Today once did with Matt Lauer. They were so proud all their hosts were decent, married, and committed people. The source said that the news is more painful to Robin, who has an extremely close bond with Amy. Amy and Robin are really close. Robin convinced Amy to get what would end up being a life-saving mammogram on live TV. Their bond is very strong. The source added, "Robin is an idealist. She is the boss. When something goes off the rails, she jumps in and tells people to tidy the mess up. And I'm not so sure there's a way to tidy this one up. This is all very dirty for a morning show." Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has vowed to regain the Russian-controlled territory of Crimea as American officials begin to consider whether to assist the war-battled country in its campaign to retake the peninsula. Crimea was annexed by Russia after an invasion in 2014. Nearly 8 years later, Zelensky has the disputed territory in his sights in the wider war between the two countries. "Crimea is our land, our territory," Zelensky said in a video appearance at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland, on Thursday. It is our sea and our mountains. Give us your weapons, we will return what is ours. The address from Zelensky comes as the White House and American officials have started to soften their view on sending resources, specifically to target Crimea, according to the New York Times. While the U.S. has long held that Crimea is still Ukrainian territory, there has been little appetite to arm the country with the resources to mount an offensive to regain control of it, fearing an escalation in the conflict. But now American officials are starting to concede that Ukraine may need to strike Crimea, according to the Times. Russia has up to 70,000 troops defending the northern part of the peninsula, and an American official described them as a dug-in, according to an NBC News report about a military briefing to members of Congress in December. The focus on Crimea by Zelensky also comes as Germany is coming under increased pressure to supply Ukraine with tanks, after other countries have made such commitments. In the Davos address, Zelensky laid the blame for the war solely at the feet of Russian President Vladimir Putin. The abyss between our countries is large and deep, Zelensky said. But we must all realize that they dug this abyss themselves. It is Putin who stands with this shovel and he will remain with it in the history of the world. A reddish-brown stained pillowcase, hair strands and one nitrite-type black glove were among the items Washington State University police gathered from the apartment of Brian Koberger, the man charged with the murders of 4 college students slain in an off-campus home in Moscow, Idaho, according to a search warrant unsealed on Wednesday. An animal hair was also found during the search of Koberger's apartment, the search warrant said. A dog that belonged to one of the victims, 21-year-old Kaylee Goncalves, and her ex-boyfriend was found in the Moscow residence when local police officers initially responded to the scene, the search warrant documents said. And dog hair was one of the items police were hoping to find during the search of Koberger's apartment. A more elusive item was the murder weapon, which police have not yet recovered. The search warrant said, however, that on November 13, 2022, an empty knife sheath was recovered at the crime scene under or next to the body of victim Madison Mogan, 21. In the search warrant application, investigators detailed that the King Road residence, where the murders occurred, contained a significant amount of blood splatter, which occurs when drops are released due to intense motion. Police suspected blood would be found on Koberger's person, clothing or shoes, the warrant said. Police also found a latent shoe print while processing the crime scene, which showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the one found on Van's shoes, the search warrant revealed. No results from blood testing were reported in the search warrant. In the search warrant documents, investigators said they had located a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to one of the victims. The sheath was later processed and had KA-BAR, USMC, and the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Anchor insignia stamps on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA left on the button snap of the knife sheath. Law enforcement sources had previously told CBS News that forensic analysis allegedly linked Koberger to the crime scene in Idaho, and an affidavit stated that DNA was found on a knife sheath left at the scene of the murders. Police also gathered a computer tower, receipts from Walmart and Marshall's, a dust container from a Bissell Power Force vacuum and a Fire TV stick with a cord and plug, according to the search warrant. Koberger was arrested on a fugitive from justice warrant in Pennsylvania, police announced on December 30, and extradited to Idaho, where he was formally charged with the murders. Police also searched Koberger's office at Washington State University, which is only about a 15-minute drive from Moscow, Idaho. Koberger was a Ph.D. criminology student and teaching assistant who had just finished his first semester at WSU, the school said in a statement. The 28-year-old faces 4 counts of first-degree murder and felony burglary for his alleged involvement in the murders, said Loudoun County, Idaho, prosecutor Bill Thompson during a news conference after his arrest.